And we begin by querying up the USA. New study reveals which region of America has the most LGBTQ plus. And the original answer may surprise you. After releasing a report listing Kentucky as having the highest percentage of gay adults than any state in the U.S., UCLA's School of Law William Institute said the data for the Bluegrass State was wrong. Almost every LGBTQ plus media outlet reported the initial data. In the correction and apology issued on social media, Brad Sears, founding director of the Institute, acknowledges the mistake and apologizes, saying the CDC data used was updated in July, and that update was missed by the school. It turns out the percentage of gay adults living in Kentucky is 4.9%, well below the national average of 5.6%, and puts the Commonwealth in a tie for 43rd. That sounds about right. He said the Institute is working on a new analysis of LGBTQ plus adults. According to the Institute, 5.6% of U.S. adults identify as LGBT, and there are about 14 million LGBT adults in the United States. Yeah, you know, I saw this story last week, and it was one of those that I just kind of pushed by because I was like, I didn't understand the methodology, and I was like, we're not going to push this. And boy, was I right. I grew up in Indiana. Kentucky's just to our south. And I mean, God bless the people living there from Paducah to Louisville, over to the tri-state. But I knew y'all weren't leading the country. There's just something inside me that said, you're not doing this. So it reminds us to always take everything with a grain of salt, and also gives us a good idea of where our brothers and sisters are around the world.
Yeah, I feel bad for the Williams Institute. Having ran a research center, this is like a big blunder that could just destroy the credibility of a research center. So I do feel bad that they made this blunder. But similar to you, Kentucky of all places, come on. Right. Let's be real, right? You know, and this goes back to something that I believe too, is that, you know, we need a better way of counting us. There's no real great way of counting, you know, the gay population, and so we need a better way of doing that, and so we can really know the real numbers.
Well, I know a few people who relocated to South Florida from Kentucky, and I'm guessing they were as shocked as anyone about the Williams Institute report, and then greatly relieved when the reporting was corrected. I also think it's a safe bet that South Florida and Florida in general, the LGBTQ plus population plays a significant role, a much higher number for our community.
Do you think that your friends are the data adjustment? Like, there weren't as many people, but then they all moved down, and then by July, so many of your friends had moved here that the data was incorrect?
Well, I can really only count like 3 or 4, so I don't think there's that. That, to me, seems like a lot. Living in Chicago, I never knew anybody from Kentucky. I know more people here.
My ex is from Kentucky.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that your ex?
Yes.
You say? Yeah, well, there you go.
I have an ex that was from a small town in Kentucky below Louisville.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't know if anybody who was in that research center was like,
not the right people.
Like, he ran away and got to Louisville, then Atlanta. So that's where I caught him.
He's moving on up.
Exactly.
I think it would be interesting to look at this study to see if people that identify in states where there's, you know, laws or rhetoric around being LGBTQ are less likely to identify in any kind of a survey. Because again, you know, we live in a state, of course, that we're not making it very hospitable to LGBTQ people. And I think that would be interesting to see how that trend plays out. Because again, I mean, Kentucky, Louisville is actually a pretty progressive city itself. Yeah. And there are a lot of LGBTQ people in Louisville, but across the state, I would say probably not as many as leading the nation.
Right.
Again, identified as.
Or identify as.
Right.
Yes, identify as.
Again, Louisville is great. Lexington is great. Our hearts really go out for our brothers and sisters in Paducah, Western Kentucky. No, I know. I mean, it's fun because Paducah's a funny word. Yeah. But we have to look out we have to know where our people are. And like you said, censusing has always been a non-exact science, to be sure.